thinks he's got a golden opportunity to derail the champion, is here and will be fighting for the first time outside, or at least in the United States, out of Colombia. He's a young man that has a great deal of tools, and certainly you have watched his progress with great interest, certainly, Cedric. Tell us a little about Juan Polo, how you feel he can contend against the champion tonight.
Polo's a good puncher. He can punch with both hands. As I said earlier on, he's going to handle the only question that I'm looking at is how will he be able to adapt to the awkward style of the champion Pical? Even for the most experienced orthodox fighters, they can have difficulty, they can have a great deal of difficulty with the southpaw style. Polo, of course, is the younger of the two. Polo Perez is the younger of the two. The champion's 32 years old. That's a little old for boxing, Sam. That could be a problem, especially if in the early going the pace is a very hot pace. That could be a factor. As you said earlier on, it's very hot in the arena here this evening. And both these guys, of course, they're used to the heat, both in Indonesia and Colombia.
Now here is the champion. Elly Pical is in the ring along with Polo, the challenger. And again, both are ready to go. Elly Pical, again, you see age 32, 5'3", identical to that of Polo. He weighed at 115, a 19-2 record does Pical bring in, despite being 32, very few fights. And his opponent, of course, Juan Polo, comes in at 26-5-1. As you see him there again, 5'3", came in at 114.25. Let's go to Greg Roberts for the continuation before the world title fight for the preliminary information.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's main event. Let's pay our respects. Please rise for the playing of the national anthem. The Colombian national anthem and the national anthem of Indonesia.
tonight will be Al Rothenberg, assigned by the IBF as the referee. We talked to Al early on about the championship fights. He has had over 20 championship fights. He said he believes it's number 25, and he's looking at quite an exciting night tonight with both. As he checks in the corner, you see him over in the Pical corner first of all, and of course Polo waiting across the ring as well, ready for this. One of the things about this center, because you take a look at a world title fight, you're in another country, they're playing your national anthems, you've got to get pumped up for this. If you're not, you should not be in that ring.
Both of those guys look very, very patriotic as well now, Sam. And this is only the third world title fight in the state of Virginia. And the other two, of course, featured the local hero, Sweet Pea Whitaker. So this being the third one is one that features two foreigners.
Well, Al Rothenberg, again, the third man in the ring, making sure everything is ready. They touch gloves, and we are out. The distinction, again, the champion in the red trunks with a black stripe down the side. And, of course, Polo almost in the solid red, of course, with the lettering across both the front and the back. The southpaw Pical, crouching, looking to throw the left. Polo will be the stalker, the aggressor in this fight, it appears, from round one.
Almost hunched up, the shoulders appear.
One thing about it, Cedric, so many people, you hear world championship fight, junior bantamweight. It's unfortunate these young men do not get their just due, because when they really start banging, which they will before this is over, these young lightweights in lighter weight divisions can certainly put on some great, exciting fights.
Sam, you're so right about that. Some of the most thrilling fights in the history of boxing have been in the lighter weight divisions. Toe-to-toe for many, many rounds, especially when they used to be the 15 rounds, Sam.
Again, both fighters very, very cautious early on, and rightly so. They've got 12 rounds to fight. Neither fighter wants to make a mistake early on. Juan Polo again getting a little bit of a help from a previous fight. Raul Diaz of Colombia fought Pical in February of '88. So at least they got to talk to Diaz and also look at the film of that fight to see how he attacked the left-hander. It did go the full 12 rounds, and it was a title to fight of the IBF Championship.
A very slow feel-out round here. The champion most certainly very slow in starting, but I think he's looking for that opportunity. Quite content to wait.
There you see Polo would like to get inside and rumble a little. Pical tried to counter off the ropes. Neither fighter able to establish himself other than Polo's little flurry. Under 1 minute to go in round number one of a scheduled 12-rounder here. Polo got a good solid right hand in on Pical. One of the things you try to look at with a right-hander fighting a left-hander is the fact that he tries to get his left foot outside the right foot of the left-hander. So watch that as the night goes on. Right now it's just about even toe-to-toe. So watch and see if Polo can get the left foot outside of the right foot of the left-hander and, of course, cut off the angle of the left hand. Good combination as Polo comes in. Pical tries to answer as the bell sounds to end round one.
I'm listening to the crowd booing, and I say this respectfully, it has a lot to do with the inexperience, not quite understanding that in every fight you can't just go straight away, and as you said earlier, they have 12 rounds to go, Sam.
Polo seemed to be very aggressive in round one, and he may have to be that way for the remainder of the fight, because Pical is a crafty fighter. He does like to get away from you, but Polo, who crashed in on top of him on the ropes, kind of took the fight to him in round one, and by virtue of that, probably drew the scorecards the most, including our own here at ringside.
I gave him the round, more intense. It looked like he wanted it, and you know, Pical, Sam, Pical came here with his wife, with his little baby, 32 years old, the first time to the United States. I'm not suggesting he came for a payday, but This young man, Polo, I spoke to him through a translator for the last few days, and he knows what a win like this can mean to him.
Coming, of course, from a impoverished family down in Colombia, as probably most are, a farm worker. Even has an opportunity of as much as a $50,000 payday down the road. And what would that mean in Colombia? Wow, what an upstep for him and his family.
It's an unbelievable thing what $50,000 could do in Colombia.
Pride is pride, but certainly taking care of yourself and your family is another incentive that certainly Juan Polo feels tonight. Elly Pical, of course, has tasted some good paydays. Nothing, of course, in equivalence to the higher weight divisions, but certainly as a champion has tasted some good money.
He's earning $78,000 this evening, and I believe it's his highest payday.
That's not a bad neighborhood to live in.
To date, most certainly. He has to leave 30% with Uncle Sam, who always gets his cut. That's the withholding tax that a alien has to pay here.
Is that who that guy was back in the back there? I thought he looked familiar. Round two here, Cedric. We haven't seen a great deal of style change. Still very cautious by both fighters.
No, I'm really surprised. Polo stalking him, but not really putting all that much pressure on him. A lot of Vaseline on the eyebrows of the champion.
Polo, an amateur record of 42 victories and 6 losses. The South American Flyweight champion, won the bronze in the 1982 World Cup before turning pro. Pical again still backpedaling, and Polo trying to come in on top of him.
Very good ref, Al Rothenberg. Very fine referee.
There's Pical, who probably scored with his best left hand of the night. As Polo circled one way, Pical quickly cut him off and came right in with the left hand, and Polo caught it flush, right on the forehead. Dead serious expression on both faces here. Both fighters coming in very well in condition. 1:15 for the champion Pical, 1:14 1/4 for Juan Polo as they wrestle to the mat. A warning now for Polo on grabbing behind the head. And there's the bell to end round number 2. Crowd again reacting.
Sam, not much action. I thought they would go pick the pace up a little faster than they're doing. I'm a little surprised.
Ridley Zeus working in the corner of the champion Pical. Efren Salam is also in that corner with the champion, as again he instructs him to put a little more Vaseline on those eyebrows.
That's what I noticed earlier on. A lot of Vaseline, Sam.
So Pical once again coming in with that first good left hand, and then to clinch very quickly. Again, he might have got a slight price of the heads, is the reason he was a little concerned with the eyebrow, as again they wrestled to the canvas. Just a word to our production truck. We are very, very loud on our crowd noise in our headsets here at ringside. If you could back on that just a tad, we'd appreciate it. Thank you. Round number 3 is underway. Again, Polo getting a solid first round. Cedric, how about round number 2? Not a lot of punches thrown, but how did you look at it?
A difficult round to score there.
Yeah, it was. Almost to the point of being an even round, but Mr. Bill Brennan of the IBF says we will not have even rounds on my scorecard.
In light of that fact, and he did most certainly stress that, he said he did not like to see judges who came here and were indecisive. And in light of that fact, I might give that round to the champion.
So that evened it out on your scorecard. As they fight in round number 3. And again, Polo still very much the aggressor, as you see his style. Pical trying to counter. Polo hitting him behind the head. Polo, by the way, is being trained as accommodations thrown again by Alfonso Perez. And that, of course, is his uncle. And a very well-to-do amateur champion. And as a professional, had a good career of his own. So it is in the family. They keep it over in the corner of Juan Polo Perez.
Little flurry there by Polo.
Polo getting most of those caught on a kind of a backing up clinching style there of Perez. Excuse me, of Pical. Polo trying to catch him with a body shot. This crowd in Roanoke, Virginia would like to have a little bit more toe-to-toe, but it is a cat-and-mouse game right now.
Cal, the more experienced. See how he held his head down, how he held Polo's head down there quite effectively.
Cedric, we pointed on early up the 32-year-old champion Pical. 1 fight in 13 months. Mike Phelps winning a 12-round decision. Inactivity, is that unusual or usual for the lighter weight division fighters?
Sam, you have a situation where these fighters most certainly should be fighting far more regularly than he did. I know that there were some difficulties. Most certainly, I speak from experience. From my own personal experience as it related to this fight, we had a lot of difficulty putting this fight together. This was a mandatory that was due in November, and it would have been in Pical's best interest for the fight to have gone on a lot sooner than it's taking place. 8-9 months later, most certainly, as you say, 32 years old, 1 fight in 13 months. There's no advantage there at all.
Flurry to end the round, and both fighters doing more psyching each other out after the round is over than we saw inside of the fight. Am I correct? I'm looking at Pical, and I do not see a mouthpiece. He was not wearing a mouthpiece. I thought it was mandatory. And we'll watch him closely again. He did not take a mouthpiece out, nor has he put one in to start the round. As we start this, getting ready for the 4th round.
Pical's got...
And now the referee, Al Rothenberg, is over talking about the amount of Vaseline being put on the face of Pical. As we get ready for the start of the 4th round. Again, Polo being very aggressive through the first 3. Pical, the champion, again has taken some good shots from Polo. He's thrown only about 1 good left hand, and that is maybe a slight under-exaggeration, but not much, as Polo has definitely been the more aggressive and the more scoring of these 2 fighters so far tonight.
I think you're going to see Polo put the pressure up. I don't think he can pace himself like this, and I don't think he wants to fight like this.
There was no secret coming in. He wanted to put pressure on early, and he's done just that very thing. But Cal, again, is not wearing a mouthpiece, and I am totally shocked. He got even to the point of sticking his tongue out of his mouth, and I'm just appalled that somebody can fight a fight without a mouthpiece. There you see Polo. Pical trying to answer with a left hand. There's the charging of Polo on top of him. Rothenberg, the referee, again ordering him to not clinch for Polo, or at least to hold on. By the way, Al Rothenberg informed me that Virginia is starting something new. It's actually an officiating referees clinic that will be held in Virginia. To his knowledge, one of the first of its kind, inviting referees from not only the United States but the world over to attend a clinic later on this year to try to educate not only those that hold on to the fights, but let them take it back to their local people as well.
The Commonwealth of Virginia, the state of Virginia, has very, very fine officials. Al Rothenberg has lectured at many, many clinics around the country as well. And when the IBF has their convention, he always heads the referees forum.
Closing moments of this, the fourth round, and that is Polo style. Pical again comes back, probably answering it with only 1-4. It is Polo 4 punches to 1, and that's got to be scoring some punches on the judges' scorecard here. The challenger, number 1, out of Colombia. Last fight in Medellin, as he came up with a 2-round knockout over Alfredo Gomez. And he's fighting very, very well here in round 4. There you see that big right hand of Polo again. Pical is trying to smile those off, center, but he's taking some punishment.
Another good left hand.
Polo to the body, then backs out, and you see the combination. He's fighting so wisely. Pical caught him with a left hand, but not before the damage again by Polo. Again, a long-awaited fight. Scheduled, at least on the books, as early as October of last year. The bell sounds to end the fourth.
It's a good round for Polo there.
Polo again putting combinations together again, almost a 4-1 on punches. As a good look at Polo in his corner. Very poised young man is again through his interpreter. As a matter of fact, his manager, Billy Chance, we had a chance to visit with Polo. Very confident young man, knew what he had to do. Came into this fight tonight knowing that the pressure would be the thing that would win him the championship. And Pical has weathered that pressure, but again, Polo has definitely been the man of the hour here in Roanoke, Virginia.
Sam, there's always that advantage for the challenger. If he loses, well, it's most certainly not good, but, well, so he lost. But for the champion, look at the difference it makes. If he loses, sometimes it's very, very difficult to get the opportunity to have another crack at the title, especially at 32 years of age.
Massimo Miguelaccio, the young man, the heavyweight out of Italy, winning by a knockout, and now they have stepped into the ring, and they are getting some more of the Vaseline off that they had on the cheeks, but again, nothing said about the mouthpiece. And we are, wait a minute, he may have put one in now. I think he may be wearing a mouthpiece now.
Now it does appear that way.
So he apparently is now wearing a mouthpiece, and also they have wiped off some Vaseline off of both cheeks. He definitely has a mouthpiece in now. He did not early on.
Maybe he had a small abrasion on the upper lip or the lower lip, and it was uncomfortable for him, or a bruised nose or something like that. Maybe he sustained an injury on his nose in training, didn't tell anybody about it, and so maybe that's a little... Maybe that's the reason why.
Both fighters exchanging once again as Polo. He's in the solid red, of course, with the right lettering on both the front and back. Pical in the solid red with a black stripe. And again, the left-hander really is almost wanted just to look like he wanted to load up on the left hand. Really doesn't put a lot of combinations together. I'm kind of surprised.
Polo's picking up the pace. He's doing what he has to. He's coming forward. He's the aggressor. The judges are going to notice that. There's a good punch. He's punching a little low, mind you. Polo hit a little low. Done that on a few occasions.
Very good sign to watch the conditioning of a fighter. And looking at Polo, next time you get a good close look at his face, lips are tight, which means that he is in excellent condition and is breathing very comfortably. Pical on the other side, again, as Cedric pointed out, maybe a little trouble with the mouthpiece. He does have a cut either on the upper or the bottom lip, and is starting to breathe a little more heavily through his mouth, and the mouth a little more wide open.
That's right. You can see the mouth is open, and that, generally speaking, is from difficulty in breathing.
Now a warning from the referee, Mr. Rothenberg, to Pical for holding behind the head. Pical very astute at fighting off the clinches. He knows how to throw a bundle of punches while you're in that clinch.
Well, that's the more experienced, which he most certainly is. He's the older of the two. He's had fewer fights, but when you have those championship fights on that level, of course, it's different, and he's gone 12 rounds, I believe 5 times, Sam.
He had over 100 amateur fights, as you see Polo brawling inside. 3 times was named as the best fighter in the President's Cup competition worldwide. was Pical, the champion. Possible blow straying low by Pical, warned by the referee. He takes a gentleman's bow to Polo.
You see, he's constantly holding. Pical is.
And there's the bell that ends the 5th round. Pical again back to his corner, still fidgeting with that mouthpiece.
Sam, you spotted that right away, and you were perfectly correct about that. He wasn't wearing a mouthpiece in the early parts of the round.
There you see him brawling inside, and Al Rothenberg again warning, of course, Polo for fighting after the clinch had been called. And, of course, holding by Pical early on. Scorecard, of course, becoming paramount here as the 3 judges that'll be scoring tonight's fight. Jim Traylor from Norfolk, Virginia, Leon Johansson from Indonesia, and Von Laprade, he is from Portsmouth, Virginia. Those are the 3 judges assigned to this fight by the IBF. And again, the gentleman in charge of the IBF is Bill Brennan. Bill is a native Virginian, and he will be inducted into the National Boxing Hall of Fame in the month of November, and he will become the first Virginian to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, and they're very proud of that for Bill Brennan.
That's right. That's indeed a great honor.
All right, round number 6 is here. Pical getting the scoring in that round starts to tighten the fight down a little more. Now, when do we see a little change in strategy here? When does Pical maybe get a little more aggressive? We have not seen it yet.
No, I think it's the exact opposite. I think what we're seeing here is Polo trying to become more aggressive.
Polo is extremely aggressive. Good combination. Pical has a little scared look on his face. That's our interpretation, certainly. And now he fights from a little fear as he comes back and knows that Polo is taking advantage of it. Juan Polo is primed for this shot at a world title tonight.
I think Pical's corner told him pick up the pace. You're letting him get away with too much.
Neither fighter has been in any real trouble, even though Polo has had Pical staggering a couple of times, including one a moment ago before Pical came with probably his best flurry of the night. And maybe the only one where he put more than 3 to 4 punches together.
That's right. Pical has a very interesting style. He keeps those hands up very nice and high. Protects himself like that very nicely. Difficult to get through.
Polo has already shown you his best weapon. That's the right hand. He has not thrown it with full efficiency, still measuring the champion somewhat. Good footwork by Polo, still up on his toes. The champion seems to be leaning back on his heels a little bit now, as is his posture from the early part of the fight, letting Polo come in.
Polo trying to back him up.
Al Rothenberg again, a little trouble. Again, keep in mind, neither fighter speaks English.
Right.
There's always the international hand signals of the referee with a hand on his shoulder, but they've got other business. Polo coming in with a right hand, but Pical answered again.
With a good combination.
Exactly. Went downstairs and then worked up with a solid left hand. And there's the bell to end round number 6. So Pical is picking up a little steam, but Polo has not let down an inch as he continues to be very aggressive. But Pical has scored coming off those combinations, has lured Polo in. Polo has been able to throw 1 or 2 punches, but boom, Pical has unleashed at least 3, 4, 5 punch combinations that have scored well for him here. Pical almost plays a little of the dying or wounded quail act here. He kind of lures you in and then strikes.
Those are very nice
Good
right
combination
hand.
here by Polo. Excellent. Polo tried to sit down on those punches. Still a little bit of an arm punch.
There you see Polo in the corner, smiling. Looks in very, very good condition.
By the way, one of the folks working very closely with Cedric Kushner around the world, Malcolm Garrett, working in that corner tonight.
Malcolm's the real jack of all trades.
Oh, I tell you, if you want anything done, if you can't get it done, Malcolm can, right?
Absolutely. He is the master of some.
We're talking over and no matter what country you happen to be in. Malcolm, I need this, and it's there. All right, back to business. This is round 7. Pical, on your unofficial card, we noticed Cedric is, on your card, won the last 2 rounds.
Yes, I did give him both those rounds. I was a little undecided in the 5th round, but most certainly in the 6th round. In the 6th round, yes.
Are the judges reading that good combinations on the counter moves well, do you think?
I think so. He was very, very effective, especially in that one flurry in particular, when Polo landed a good punch, and he came back with 2 or 3 of his own. I think they told Polo in his corner, let's go back to business, pick up the pace again.
Couple of minutes left to go in round 7. They're set for 12. This is the world title fight for the IBF Junior Bantamweight title, held by the man on the right from Indonesia, Elly Pical. It was interesting. His name is Elly, E-L-L-Y. We asked him what his nickname was, and he said Kelly, K-E-L-L-Y. Haven't quite figured that one out, but nonetheless, that's what his nickname is. Polo again, digging that right hand to the body.
Sam, you have an interesting situation. The judges, they score from so many viewpoints. Here you've got the whole night, you're seeing Juan Polo. He's stalking, pressuring, advancing all the time. You've got Polo, of course, the counterpuncher, the southpaw, fighting off the ropes, quite content to do that. How do the judges see it? Some judges like the fighter that comes forward. Some appreciate the skills of a counterpuncher. How will the judges see it tonight if it should go the distance?
It should be very, very interesting again with 2 of the judges from Virginia, the other from Indonesia, scoring this fight tonight. A rather surprising draw for Jackie Beard early on, but keep in mind all 3 of those judges were local Virginia judges in that fight, including one of the referees. Polo going in. Pical turning the tables on him. Pical was very content, particularly in rounds 1 and 2, where Polo was very convincing, to just wait for Polo to come in, take a couple of punches and get out. Now, he draws Polo in, takes a good shot or 2, and then throws 3 or 4 of his own.
That's right. A good one right there.
And now Pical seems to be getting more aggressive. And a great contingent of Indonesian fans from throughout the Washington, D.C. and Virginia area have made their way here to Roanoke. And Polo has Pical in a little trouble. The bell sounds. I think that was the bell. Yes, it was above the crowd. And what a flurry at the end of the 7th round.
A very good flurry there, and I was just about to give the round to Pical, and now I have to say to myself, how do the judges see it? You know, the guy that scores the most points in the last 20 seconds, invariably he ends up getting the round.
So that flurry by Polo against the champion Pical, who had fought well and became more aggressive. But again, Polo almost staggered Pical as he hit him with the right hand. Pical was already going backwards, and that may have been the indication when he fell back into the turnbuckle. But again, just literally tried to fight off with aggression to a very aggressive, as we take a look at another angle at it, and Pical was clearly shaken by that right hand. Good flurry by Juan Polo. As again, a good look at the champion Pical. On the other side, Juan Polo gets the mouthpiece in, and here he comes to start the 8th round. Polo very much up on his toes. He looks good. Conditioning excellent, 114 1/4. Pical does not look that much wear for the worse here as he came in at 115. And again, let's mark it down in the 7th round. I saw a little more aggression coming from Pical rather than being so much a counterpuncher. So has it turned a bit, even though here it appears that Polo continues to stalk.
They've thrown a lot of water on both fighters.
There's Polo. There's Pical coming back to the combination. I have a strange feeling by rounds 9, 10, 11, and 12, and it appears we could very likely go that far. We could be in a toe-to-toe war before this is over, ever so slightly. Pical becoming a little more aggressive, Polo always aggressive, and they could be toe-to-toe in those final rounds.
It looks to me like Pical is picking up the steam. His punches are more effective, maybe not as many, but more effective.
You think it was a game plan, or do you think that's just the way they say, hey, you've got to score some points?
I think his corners told him he better go out and do what he has to. A good right hand by Polo gets through there.
Polo, to me, Cedric, and I have not seen all that many junior bantamweights, seems to be a very strong junior bantamweight. When he gets in, he can muscle you with his shoulders and the elbows.
That's right. But the thing I like about him, Sam, is he's very, very composed. He's a young man. He hasn't had that much international experience. Most of his fights have been in Colombia. He looks very, very composed. He gets himself together very nicely.
As fought as a flyweight in the amateur ranks, of course, coming in here, junior bantamweight at 114 1/4. 26 wins, 5 losses, a draw with 12 knockouts. The champion in 21 fights is 119, 13 of those by the knockout. Here again at the right hand by Polo. Polo, 7 years the younger, 25 to 32. Will that be a factor? The champion, 1 fight in 13 months. Is that a factor?
Sam, the way Polo's fighting this round, he must be scoring the points. He must be piling on the points.
Still breathing very comfortably with the lips clenched, which indicates no problem with the breathing so far in the 8th.
Referee warning him to keep it up, warning Polo, and rightfully so. I mentioned that earlier on.
Closing seconds of the 8th. There's Pical, again, that little more aggressive style of his. Polo lumbering in on top of him, trying to get him against the ropes. Compliments to Al Rothenberg with a nice little nifty step to get out of the way of the junior bantamweights as the bell sounds to end the 8th round.
Good round there for Polo, and I think it was an important round because I think he could change the momentum there. The momentum that you alluded to in the last 2 rounds. I said that Pical had scored those 2, and he was gaining a little rhythm there, and I think that was very good for Polo.
What's waiting in the wings down the road for either one of these? Certainly Pical with an opportunity to fight for another title, in this in his own, or Polo getting the first title he's ever had and a chance to fight on. What's down the road for these 2 junior bantamweights?
Well, you've got a situation where there are a lot of good fighters, but of note, you've got a young man from South Africa who sports a 25-0 record. He's rated number 2 in the division, in the IBF junior bantamweight division. Welcome Nachita. I know he's looking for a shot. I'm sure of that. But also, there's another young man who we mustn't forget about. He was the winner in the 1984 Olympics, and that's Paul Gonzalez. He now fights. He was the flyweight winner, but he now fights in the junior bantamweight division. And he's got 6 consecutive wins in the last 12 months. So he becomes a definite possibility because that's something that would also appeal to the American television networks. Paul Gonzalez, of course, being the Olympic winner and also having fought in the early going of his professional career on the networks. And with the American network dollars, that can really make a difference. That can bring up the price of these guys' purses quite considerably.
So they fight on here again as we fought through 8 rounds, going into round number 9 here again. Pical, the champion, on the right. The challenger, number 1 in the IBF rankings, Juan Polo Perez. Sticking that left jab in, but he's been able to follow it up very well. Uses the body punches well. Good strength. Pical with some counter fights, counter punches. By the way, Fidel Bosa, also from Colombia, lost to Jesus Rojas for the WBA flyweight title, so Colombia is in need of a champion at this time.
Certainly are.
And he certainly would like to be the bell cow, if you will, of Colombian boxers with a world title.
Sam, as you said earlier on, what $50,000 can do in Colombia, it can change a man's lifestyle immeasurably. A house costs $10,000. You can buy a house for $10,000, Sam.
Polo right in on top of the champion. Pical with that peekaboo-style defense, catching a lot of those on the gloves, though. Polo's throwing some punches, but again, good defense by the champ.
Sam, you're not noticing it on your screen, but we can see here from ringside, Rena Pical, Elly Pical's wife, who's also his manager, screaming for him to be more aggressive and throw more punches. She seems quite concerned at ringside there.
They're no strangers to the U.S., at least for their second trip. They honeymooned in Beverly Hills, California, all the way from Indonesia. Their second time, they've got some business to do here in Roanoke, though.
This is not a honeymoon for Polo.
It is not.
For Pical, definitely not.
Polo, we've been making mention, comes from a family of 7 children. His father, a farm worker. So much has been. There's the exchange of left hands almost at the simultaneous ringing of the bell. Wow. So that round went down with a flurry of punches. So as we get ready to go into round number 10, they're moving on here. And Pical, again, the champion, doing a little bit more of aggression as we start the 10th. You may recall back in the 7th, I wanted us all to kind of write it down, and he became a little more aggressive in the 7th round. Polo took that aggression away from him in the 8th and 9th, and now Pical's trying to regain it back. Ebbs and flows in this fight. A warning to Polo for a hold by the referee.
Pical's caller must have seen it the way we do, and most probably the way the judges do, with Polo being well ahead on the scorecard.
Pical even glanced into his corner where wife Rena is up, motioning to come in, keep coming, and then look quickly back to his target, Polo.
And Juan Polo Perez most certainly not looking too confused at all of this, maintaining that composure that I told you about earlier on.
You know, one thing, Cedric, I think he picked up very well. I don't think being a southpaw as an opponent for Polo was ever really any problem early on.
No.
I'll tell you one thing Juan has done also very well. The left hand.
Nice counterpunch there himself, Sam.
He is doing a good job. Another good blow by the champion, Pical, is a left hand. He likes to swing the left hand wide, and Juan Polo has camped that right glove on the cheek and has really held it there extremely well all night long. Very few left hands by the champions have gotten in. There's that left hand. He dropped it ever so slightly, and Pical scored. Polo, however, has now become a very efficient counterpuncher in this round. Did I tell you you can expect toe-to-toe in the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th? Well, it's getting ever so close to that factor now.
I think Pical's sensing that he has to pick up the pace, and most certainly his corner's telling him that.
Again, Pical keeps glancing into the corner where wife Rena continues to motion him on. He flirted. Underneath, however, Polo was throwing a good combination. A left hand by Pical. Again, Polo, just after getting a little praise for holding that right hand up, has dropped it 2 or 3 times in his round, and the champion has made him pay for it.
The champion lost his mouthpiece there. It fell right off.
And there's the bell to end round 10. And both try a little gamemanship at the end of the round as they go their respective ways. Pical over in his corner waiting for the mouthpiece and, of course, getting his instructions. Inspectors of the Virginia Boxing Commission leaning in, checking any possible cuts. Inspectors over, of course, in Polo's corner as well. Pical, who has been laying back as a counterpuncher for a majority of the fight. A little more aggressive in the 7th round against Juan Polo, who rested his corner. And again scored with mostly the left hand in this round. Polo has been able to duck away from a couple of them, but I guarantee you a couple of the left hands by the champion have found the range, and that one right up the middle. So the whistle sounds, seconds out. Many feeling this one would go the distance, and certainly it's well on gear to do that. As the bell sounds, and we're in round number 11 of this 12-rounder. World title fight, IBF Junior Bantamweight Championship. Cedric Kushner, Sports and Entertainment Network, tonight in Roanoke, Virginia. From the Valley Sports Arena.
Sam, you're going to see a very, very aggressive, a very busy Pical. For as long as this fight goes, he knows what he has to do in the next 2 rounds.
Pical again very aggressive in round 10. We agreed on the scoring with Pical getting the round. Tightens a little more, and there he slips the left hand in again. Polo seems to be still looking composed, still trying to stay with his game plan, but now he suddenly realizes that he's got a little tiger by the tail now, I think.
I think Polo senses he needs, Pical senses he needs a knockout, and he's fighting more aggressively that way.
You hear, of course, that the benefit of the doubt of the judges, if there should be such a thing in their mind, would go with the champion. Polo is trying his best to be as aggressive as he can to take that little element away. Certainly at the end, the champion would be given the benefit maybe of an even round. I don't know. I'm not putting words or thoughts into their minds, but that's just the way the nature of the game goes sometimes.
I think after the supervisor, Bill Brennan, the IBF supervisor's speech yesterday, I don't think we'll see one even round in this fight.
A warning for a possible head clash by Polo. And now you see both of these junior bantamweights just coming forward each other. You almost get the feeling, even though you're looking at the lighter weight division people, one punch could turn this fight totally around one way or absolutely the other.
But Polo looking like he's taken all the best that Pical's given him tonight.
He has had that left hand and has shown a very good chin. There you see that left hand lead by the champion. Polo spotted it. Pical is really trying to just buy some time, in my estimation. He is clinching a lot inside. He's not trying to do any more scoring. When they get in tight, he just clinches and tries to waltz around a bit.
Sam, at 32 years old with 1.5 rounds to go, I wouldn't like to see him think about buying any time.
I'm always interested also, we made mention of Pical's wife, Rena, up over in the corner, who is his manager, asking him to come on. I'm always interested to see the look and the fate of a fighter when he does look into his corner. He said, hey, that's easier said than done. Trust me. There you see Polo coming in on top of Pical, trying to fight on. I don't need to tell you, as the bell sounds to end the 11th, that this crowd is now very much into this world title fight tonight. The champion, I personally feel, is trying to steal it back, is Rena, his wife. Now, she is allowed, where she sits at ringside, to be up and cheering, but not physically in the corner. She is not listed as one of the 3 corner people working in her husband's corner. But she certainly is able to be up at ringside and shouting instructions, as again, she's trying to get some instructions, but again, it has to come from long distance. Across the way, Alfonso Perez working in front of his nephew. Talking frantically right now, of course, speaking in Spanish across the way. And again, across the other side, Indonesian being spoken to the champion.
They're really going crazy in the case of Pical's corner.
You know, Cedric, as we get ready to start this 11th round, you mentioned Mr. Hagan early on. Another gentleman, Larry Lyons, has done an excellent job to get everything going here in Roanoke, and I think we've had a most successful night here in the Valley.
Oh, absolutely. Been fantastic. The people of Virginia, the cooperation has been absolutely unbelievable.
And, of course, international boxing promoter Cedric Kushner making it all possible and very happily sitting in at ringside with us. Cedric, we've enjoyed it tonight. Round 11. Pical, you can see the aggression of the Indonesian now.
I think the corner told him, don't leave it up to the judges.
Polo has to be very careful now because with the punches flinging and flying here, Polo has to continue to be as active as he can. Pical, now, when you throw caution to the wind like this, Cedric, you're really kind of opening up a barn door, so to speak, and
Absolutely.
one punch could turn it around here.
There's no doubt about that. But if you'll notice there, Pical, he's fighting in a very rough way. He tries to throw Polo around. He's very, very rough himself. Tying him up. Look at that little rabbit punch there. Doing anything and everything that he has to.
Let's see if Pical is still leading with the left. That's what he's been scoring mostly with. Not setting up the left hand with the right hand. He's been coming with just, there it is. He just feinted with the right and then comes strongly with the left hand. Polo has pretty well figured that out, I think. There it is again. Now the mouthpiece coming out, not allowed to be able to put it back in.
But that was to Pical's advantage. He most certainly, I don't think he likes fighting with the mouth.
Oh! Big old by Polo. The champion's down. Pical got caught with a right hand. Al Rothenberg checking the other fighter. Now he's going to look at the champion, rub the gloves. Plenty of time to go here in the 11th round. This is round 11 now.
A fighter's very, very vulnerable when he gets knocked down like that.
Excuse me, this is round 12 as they are fighting in the 12th. Excuse me. As again they fight and the champion has gone down in the 12th. Polo sensing he may have enough time to do something here. Pical realizing he's in trouble, clinching and holding.
I think we've got an upset in the making here, Sam.
Polo, who has come out aggressive, has fought the champion and backed him up all night. Pical came out strong in the 7th and 8th round. Polo took the aggression away. In the 9th and 10th, Pical came back in the 11th and now is down, which could be a very important 10-8 round for the challenger, Juan Polo. Normally the round scored on a 10-point must system, on a 10 must system, and there it is. The fight is over. Has Polo stolen it, or has the champion retained? Only time will tell as a jubilant Polo kid comes across the ring, and the challenger feels a moment of glory even before the scorecards are tallied and announced.
Sam, I see Polo the winner by at least 4 or 5 points. That's the way I think. Now, of course, I'm a little biased because he's my fighter, but I'm not scoring. I'm just watching.
I have to look at your scorecard, and I have to be honest with the folks. We were scoring it together here. And other than one round, and you've made mention to it, the 5th round, which you were a little undecisive on, I had given to Polo. You had given it to Pical. That's the only round we differed on. And now with a 10-8 round, in the 12th and final round when the champion is knocked down, I, too, had Polo ahead. You've got him 4 or 5. I had him up by 3. So we are looking at a possible big upset here in Roanoke.
Sam.
There it was, the right hand again. Another angle. Let's watch it for you. You see Pical, and there it was. It was an uppercut right hand that put him down. Interesting.
Sam, I think that's the last thing that Pical needed in this situation. If the judges were seeing it close, which, as I say, I didn't see it that way, that was the last thing he needed was a 10-8 round. I think that was the icing on the cake for Juan Polo Perez. I think we'll see a new champion here this evening.
Jakarta, Indonesia, and Colombia very interested in what happens to their native sons tonight. One of those countries will be cheering, the other will be saying, in the case of Indonesia, if indeed the champion should lose, what happened? If indeed Polo should lose, they'll say, boy, what a fight he put up against the champion. As he, of course, is well greeted by this crowd tonight. And a good man is looking on. The crowd very anxious here. You see, of course, the folks that have been very instrumental in giving us the information, along with Mr. Kushner, of course. There are other people that have been very much in our corner, and we could not do this without them. So our plaudits to all of those people who have put their hard-earned time in here in this fight in Roanoke, Virginia, and have made it all possible. And let me tell you, the Family Net people and their fine organization here in Roanoke, Virginia, and in Virginia, period, have done an excellent job, and we hope that you have appreciated it tonight, because they indeed have, I think, put you in the ring with the champion and the challenger tonight. And now we are very close to getting a decision on this, the world title fight here tonight in Roanoke. You see the participants? Greg Roberts has the numbers. Let's get the decision on the fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. We have a unanimous decision. Judge 1 scores 118, 110. Judge 2 scores 117, 111. Judge number 3 scores 117, 113. The winner by unanimous decision and new junior bantamweight champion of the world,
Well, just like I said.
Wow. Well, you heard the numbers. Cedric said by 4 or 5 points. One judge by 6, another by 4, and a whopping 8 points on one card, 118 to 110 for the new IBF junior bantamweight champion, Juan Polo Perez, as he comes up with a victory tonight. And again, with the difference on those cards,
Have a look at the knockdown again.
the big 10-8 round in the 12th. And again, the uppercut puts the champion down.